Hey you guys, it is Jared Gant with JM Gant Photography. We are recording this for the Master the Business of Photography with SLR Lounge course. Today I have Tanya Smith with me, and we are talking about the importance of specializing. So as some of you might know, I'm a wedding photographer based out of Northern Colorado, and for the first several years of business, I was kind of a jack of all trades photographer, willing to literally shoot anything. And I think that's important when you're first starting out to some degree, just to kind of get some experience, but before you can really dive in and grow your business, you have to learn to identify your specialty. And so Tanya, tell us a little bit about you and yourself, and then let's jump in and talk to you a little bit about your thoughts on the importance of specializing.
Sure, yeah. So I have a business called Work Story Photography. It's located in Eastern Washington, Spokane specifically. And I work primarily with local businesses to help them create visuals for their marketing. Photos and now videos, we're doing some. So, and kind of like you, I started out shooting everything. I started out doing my sister's senior pictures and then photographed my babies and, did some weddings, and I kind of explored all the avenues. And then I decided to specialize in working with businesses because of my background in graphic design.
Okay.
I worked as a graphic designer for 20 years doing branding and marketing. And so that was just the space that I understood. I liked working with businesses to help them sell stuff. And I got tired of having to use really bad photos in designs for local businesses, that like dentists and chiropractors and stuff, their secretary would just take a picture with their little digital camera under the fluorescent lights, and it would be terrible, and they want to put it on a billboard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't use this photo, So
Right.
that's kind of where I got the idea for Work Story. And now I basically just do photos. I don't do as much graphic design anymore. So
That's awesome. So Work Story has been around for how long? When did you kind of choose that specialty and kind of merge into that?
So I've been in business for 4 years, and I took a whole year before that to kind of develop my business plan and do some market research and, get everything right. So 5 years officially. So yeah.
Awesome. So do you have any tips for individuals that are trying to choose their specialty? To how can they identify, the specialty that they want to fall into? And even, for myself as a wedding photographer, there are specialties within that industry as well. As
Right.
a wedding photographer,
Right.
there's so many different types of photographers. So you have any tips or suggestions for how people can choose a specialty?
Right. Well, first of all, I know those who specialize in whatever they choose are more successful because it's so much easier to market when you know very specifically who you're marketing to, right? Like I know I only want to talk to businesses. I don't, if you're not a business owner or an executive, I'm not really interested in talking to you as far as my business goes, my marketing.
Right.
So that's one reason to choose a specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like both of us, we just kind of tried a bunch of stuff, see what works, what makes you the most happy, what is getting you the most business. That could be another one, like if you look at all of your sessions from a year and 70% are weddings, that's a good indication that you're talking or, you're attracting that type of session. So that could be a good way to just kind of look at metrics. If you're already doing business, if you haven't started your business yet, I think just pick something, you might change it later, but just pick something and try it.
Absolutely. I agree completely. I mean, you have to keep in mind your business is always fluid and adjusting and growing and changing. Something that has helped me identify my niche is creating like an avatar, creating like an ideal client, right? Where you think about maybe past clients that you've worked with, that you really connected with, that you really enjoyed working with, and you start thinking about different aspects of them, and you start creating basically a fake potential client, right?
Right.
So, you know, is your client typically, you know, male or female, or do they like, you know, where do they shop? What kind of car do they drive? You know, what do they like to do with their free time? Where do they spend their money? What are the, you know, those type of
Mm-hmm.
things. You start thinking about all of those different aspects of a potential client, and then you basically have created this fake client. You know, my ideal client is a bride that's about 32 years old who has gone to graduate school and is an attorney, and you know, has you know, an income of a six-figure income, and likes high quality products, enjoys nice meals and nice wines and whatever
Right.
it might be.
Yeah.
Could be my bride is young and she likes outdoors and to hike and to, you know, to be adventurous. She's not worried about you know, having fancy dress or anything like that. She wants to have a really cool location. And anyways, by identifying and creating this avatar, this ideal client, that allows me to, within my niche of wedding photography, to realize where I need to specialize,
Right.
where I need to focus. And once you've created this avatar, then you know, well, this person you've just created that you thought up, what type of imagery would appeal to this person? Where would she go to find a photographer? You know, what,
Right.
you know, those type of things. So it
Yeah.
makes creating that business plan so much easier.
Right. Right. And I've refined mine over time. Like when I started out, I was doing my business plan. I was like, well, my niche is businesses. You know, I'm like, every business needs this. But I quickly found out that not every business knew they needed it. Not every business wanted to pay for it, or at least how much I charged. You
Right.
know, so over time, just like offering it, putting it out there, I've been able to narrow down. And now I know, well, businesses who make multi-million dollars, or businesses who have remodeled, or they're redoing their website, or they're stepping up their brand image, or, you know, I've noticed like who paid me and
Mhm.
what do they all have in common.
Sure.
That has helped me narrow it down. And
Sure.
now I know, you know, if someone comes to me and they're like, well, we're a startup and we have $1,000 for our whole business marketing, you know, I'm like, well, maybe in 5 years, call me later. You know?
Right. Right. Right.
So, you know, I've just kind of learned who is a fit for what I have to offer and who appreciates it and gets value from it. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't be afraid, and I think you touched on this perfectly, don't be afraid to, within your niche, to have a handful of different ideal clients that
right,
might
right,
have slightly different interests and whatnot. But by identifying all those, it's totally going to allow you to specialize your brand and your business so much more easy. And if you have huge differences in your ideal client and your specialty, like if you enjoy weddings and shooting you know, I don't know, maybe real estate or something like that, that's totally fine. But just keep in mind, you should probably have two separate businesses
yeah,
so that you
right,
can market those businesses individually
exactly,
to those specialties and those ideal
right,
clients.
right. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of photographers I've met with, they're like, well, I'm afraid to turn down business. You know, like I'm afraid if I don't specialize in everything, then I'm going to lose out. So, but I've actually found the opposite to be true. Like
As well.
I only do business and I get more referrals from other photographers than anyone else.
Sure.
So, and I will only refer to another photographer who specializes in something that I don't do.
Sure.
You know, so I'm like, if someone's like, hey, can you do my daughter's wedding? I'm like, no, but Jared could do it. You
Right.
know, he's amazing and he only does weddings and he's really good at it, you know?
Right.
So I found that to be like major payoff for saying no to everything else, or at least not advertising it. You know, like sometimes I'll do family photos for a friend or something, but I don't put it on my website or my social media. And people know me as the business photographer. So, which also I knew I was on to something when, like my first year in business, I was struggling to book, you know, like people didn't know who I was the new kid in town. But I was like, I knew from a branding standpoint that if I only put business photography out there, that it would pay off eventually. And so I remember one day on Facebook, someone was like, I need a wedding photographer or whatever. And there was like 500 comments under that post of different photographers. And then like the same day, someone on Facebook said, hey, I need someone to create photos for my brand, for my website, and this course that I'm creating. And like 10 people tagged me and no one else. There were no other comments. Like there was like no competition.
Right.
So I was like, okay, it's starting to pay off to specialize in that. So, and I, like you said, within the wedding photography business or whatever, or boudoir or whatever, if you have a sub or like you niche even farther down, that can really help you. Like I know like Lynn and Jersa, they specialize in the Indian weddings. Like that's, you know, that's super niche, but they know exactly where to find those people. Or if someone asks, hey, we're having an Indian wedding, who knows how to photograph these?
Yeah.
They know that, you know, people know exactly.
Absolutely. You can see that a big chunk of their efforts are to market to Orange County, South Asian, Indian wedding.
Right.
And they basically dominate that market because they've put so much energy specializing that direction. Right. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Tanya, I really, really appreciate you taking some time to chat with me a little bit about this. You guys, up on Facebook, we have an amazing community called Master the Business of Photography with SLR Lounge. And there we discuss all things business related. We're going to discuss how to take your interest and hobby of taking beautiful photographs and to turn that into a business where you can sustain your family and sustain yourself. So you guys definitely check out the community. We're also up on Instagram with SLR Lounge. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you there.